two nights out of the whole time they were separated, and she had some drug problems, but you know, they basically were working on their problems. Well, anyway, she was very brutally murdered, and because Greg was the spouse, basically, they looked at him. He had no alibi because the murder took place about 3 o'clock in the morning. He owned his own home down near Riverside Drive in Tulsa, and was an iron worker. He was home alone, and so he cooperated totally with the police. They you know, took all kinds of evidence from him, and they took a impression of his teeth, because Kathy had, whoever had killed her, had left a bite mark on her. And then basically never heard any more from the police for almost a year. And I actually was living in Ada, Oklahoma. It's funny how this all is kind of connected. My husband was in the Army, career Army officer, and was in the Army for 21 years. But at that time, we were living in Ada because he was teaching ROTC at East Central University. And we were in 3 weeks. You know, the 1st of July, we were scheduled. We had 2 small children, and we were scheduled to move to Heidelberg, Germany. And then Kathy was killed on June 1st, and of course we were just devastated, but never, I mean, Greg said, of course, he had nothing to do with it, and we never dreamed that he did. I mean, totally believed him, but it was very, very difficult for me to move to Germany with all of this going on, because here Greg was with these 2 infants, and I just, you know, felt like I was deserting a sinking ship, but the Army doesn't much care if you're deserting a sinking ship, so you have to go anyway. And so we moved to Germany, and as I said, Greg heard nothing more from the police until February. That was in '85, February of '86. And he walked out his front door to go to work, and there were about 6 police cars in front of his house, and he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. And the prosecution said that they had 2 expert witnesses who said that this bite mark that was on Kathy's body matched Greg's. And so my mother had been a legal secretary her whole life, corporate attorneys, not criminal attorneys, but and my uncle was actually a federal judge in Missouri. So my parents basically used their life savings and hired 2 of the top defense attorneys in Tulsa to represent Greg. They basically had the case for a year and did absolutely nothing. They just kept telling Greg that the prosecution had this smoking gun with these 2 expert witnesses that said that the bite mark matched, and that whoever had killed, that the bite mark had been made at the time of Kathy's death, so whoever killed her was the one that left the bite mark, and that they had looked and tried to find